Welcome back guys to GTA 6 Explained, and in this video we are going to be talking about GTA 6 and Sony because both of them just had a very rough week for very different reasons. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with the pricing breakdown Rockstar just revealed. So the Lite Edition runs at $80 and the full base edition is $100, which does sound simple, except when you actually look at what's locked behind that extra $20, it's pretty much going to be cars, guns, clothing, garages, and an entire mod and tattoo shop setup, clothing stores, a whole gang compound, which almost certainly gates off, missions, and even a classic car roundup mission that genuinely does sound fun, and none of that is going to be in the $80 version. So functionally, the $80 edition isn't really an option. It's a decoy. Rockstar and Take-Two know exactly how long fans have waited for GTA 6, and they know that if you dangle a chunk of content behind a premium label, most people will just pay it. And the real price of GTA 6, if you want the actual complete experience, is going to be $100. For context, GTA 5 launched with a $60 base and an $80 special edition alongside a $150 collector's edition. And the special edition back then just added a steelbook, map, stunt plane trials, and some clothing, weapons, whatever. Pretty minor stuff, but the collector's edition added physical merch plus extra in-game cars, garages, and an ability boost, and every edition also got that same pre-order bonus. But the pattern isn't new here. The tiered editions and pre-order bonuses are industry standard, but it feels worth at this time because like the list of what you're missing at $80 just kept scrolling. And Red Dead Redemption 2 also did something similar. They'd had 60, 80, and $100 tiers with an entire bank heist mission and a gang hideout locked behind the $80 version. And even then, players treated the base tier as the light option. This is like pretty much FOMO monetization, plain and simple, and GTA 6 might be the single biggest FOMO product gaming has ever produced. And now add in the code in a box situation. Every physical copy of GTA 6 at launch will pretty much just be a code in a box. There will be no disc. The official reasoning is pretty much leak prevention, and to be fair, leaks are a real problem. Assassin's Creed Shadow dealt with this too on a much smaller game. So just imagine GTA 6. But other than that, important clarification is that neither Rockstar nor Take-Two has confirmed whether a future disc or future disc release is coming, and there are rumors in both directions, but nothing official. And here is where things get worse, pretty much, and this isn't even about GTA 6 anymore. On July 1st, Sony announced that physical disc production will end entirely in January 2028 for new PlayStation releases. Anything launching after that date won't get a disc version, and that's period. And there's nothing, no like combating that. And pretty much the internet's reaction just tells you everything. When Insomniac teased their Wolverine game, someone asked if it would ship with a physical disc, and Insomniac's confirmation was that it was a yes, and it got pretty much more than triple the engagement of the original announcement tweet, and which shows people clearly care about this. Sony also got mocked online pretty much about which was by Domino's. So Domino's UK joked about switching to digital pizza codes, and other brands piled on. Bethesda, meanwhile, is catching heat for hypocrisy. They just promoted a physical Oblivion remastered cartridge for Switch weeks after doing the same for Skyrim and Fallout 4, right as Sony makes this move as well. And pretty much why this actually matters is that preservation is part of the argument, but the bigger issue is day-to-day cost. So physical media, gives you competition, and then competition means discounts. Right now on PlayStation's own store, The Last of Us is about $70. On Amazon, the physical copy is about $34, which is pretty much less than half the price. And that pattern does repeat across nearly every major PlayStation title. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Zero Dawn, Remastered Gran Turismo 7, and, all dramatically cheaper physically through third-party retailers than digitally through Sony directly. So if you kill physical media, that competition pretty much disappears. There's no used market, there's no discounting, there's no reselling. So it's pretty much like Sony isn't 100% of the pricing and keeps 100% of the revenue, and that is the real motivation here. And where's Xbox in all of this, you may be asking? Microsoft made roughly $281 billion in fiscal 2025, with Xbox contributing about 23 billion, roughly 8% of the total. Sony made about 82 billion, and PlayStation alone encountered for around $31 billion of that, which was more like 36% of Sony's entire business. And Sony pretty much needs PlayStation to succeed far more than Microsoft needs Xbox to. And you think that the gap gives Microsoft an opening to differentiate, maybe publicly commit to keeping disk drives, maybe even run a pro physical media and a ad campaign the way Sony famously did with their PS4 era, sharing games and then, video that mocked Xbox One's DRM plans. Instead, more reporting suggests that Xbox's next console, codenamed Project Helix, won't actually include a disk drive either. A physical disk or a physical drive isn't even that expensive to include relative to everything else in a console, so the reluctance is pretty much a choice and not a cost issue. So the bigger picture is that Sony's had a rough stretch overall, and they have had live service flops, layoffs, the Bungie situation, repeated PS5 price hikes, and pulling previously purchased movie off of people's libraries, ending physical media on top of that is not a great look at all. And speaking of price hikes, a lot of the blame goes to RAM and memory shortages, but again, shortage is just doing some heavy lifting here. It's less a supply problem and more a handful of companies controlling contracts and a supply. And GTA 6 itself is also going to be a big factor. It's going to sell out consoles worldwide regardless, which was always going to push prices up regardless of memory costs. Expect that pressure to keep building as November gets closer as well. And that's pretty much where things stand right now with GTA 6 pricing and just overall the Sony's physical media decision. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you going to be paying the full $100? Or are you going to just go ahead and stick with the base edition? And also let me know, are you guys excited for GTA 6 Online? Or would you rather just have the base game or the story mode just come out as well? Or would you rather have like online mode come directly with it, etc.? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And obviously, are you guys going to be like, does the disc situation change how you'll buy your copy as well? And again, just, like the video if you found it useful, and I will be seeing you guys in the next one. I do make a lot of these type of GTA 6 news and update videos. So if you guys want to stay tuned with GTA 6 updates, make sure you watch the video and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. But anyways, that should be it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.